Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is R.S. Raghu with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi participates in World Leaders Summit on COP26 in Glasgow, interacts with Indian community and Indologists. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson opens the summit, saying the world is strapped to a doomsday device. Centre constitutes a 20-member empowered group of secretaries to monitor implementation of PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. NIA Court awards capital punishment to 4 in 2013 Patna Gandhi Maidan serial blasts case. Har Ghar Dastak nationwide vaccination campaign begins. Vaccination coverage crosses 106 crore 34 lakh mark. Hajj pilgrimage to resume from next year, says Union Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi. Integrated single-window filming mechanism created across railway premises to ease filming in railways. Nobel Peace Prize award ceremony to be held as an in-person event in Oslo on December the 10th this year. Sensex regains 60,000 mark. Nifty also reclaims 17,900 level. And in men's T20 World Cup cricket, England take on Sri Lanka in Super 12 match in Sharjah. As India created history by administering 100 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, All India Radio salutes all the doctors, nurses, other frontline workers and all those who got vaccinated and made this possible. Even though the country has achieved this feat, we caution our listeners that the battle against COVID is not yet over. We appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and also help others get vaccinated. During the festival season, please follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. The World Leaders Summit of the 26th Conference of Parties COP26 to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change has begun in Glasgow. Welcoming world leaders to the COP26 summit, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson likened the situation that Earth is facing currently to one faced by the fictional character James Bond. Mr. Johnson said the world is strapped to a doomsday device in the form of climate change that will destroy the planet.
Welcome to Glasgow. And to Scotland, whose most globally famous fictional son is almost certainly a man called James Bond, who generally comes to the climax of his highly lucrative films strapped to a doomsday device, desperately trying to work out which coloured wire to pull to turn it off, while a red digital clock ticks down remorselessly to a detonation that will end human life as we know it. And we are in roughly the same position, my fellow global leaders, as James Bond today. Except that the tragedy is, this is not a movie, and the doomsday device is real. And the clock is ticking to the furious rhythm of hundreds of billions of pistons and turbines and furnaces and engines with which we are pumping carbon.
The high-level segment of the COP26 is being held today and tomorrow, in which heads of state of more than 120 countries, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi, are participating. The summit provides an opportunity for assessing and charting the way forward to combat climate change. In his address during the opening ceremony, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said the countries must keep the goal of 1.5 degrees Celsius warming alive. He added that this requires greater ambition on mitigation and immediate concrete action to reduce global emissions by 45% by 2030.
Recent climate action announcements might give the impression that we are on track to turn things around. This is an illusion. The last published report on national determined contributions showed that they would still condemn the world to a calamitous 2.7-degree increase. And even if the recent pledges were clear and credible, and there are serious questions about some of them, we are still careening towards climate catastrophe. Even in the best case scenario, temperatures will rise well above 2 degrees. So, as we open this much anticipated climate conference, we are still heading for climate disaster.
In a tweet, Mr. Modi said he looks forward to working with other world leaders on mitigating climate change and articulating India's efforts in this regard. A session titled Action and Solidarity, the Critical Decade, will be held during the summit today. Mr. Modi will make remarks during the national statements by the world leaders. Besides, he is also scheduled to hold a bilateral meeting with his UK counterpart Boris Johnson. Our correspondent covering the Prime Minister's visit has filed this report.
At COP26, the parties will work to achieve the completion of Paris Agreement implementation guidelines, the mobilization of climate finance, actions to strengthen climate adaptation, technology development and transfer, and keeping in reach the Paris Agreement goals of limiting the rise in global temperature. It has emerged as global climate summits, providing an opportunity for stock-taking and for charting the way forward on the issue of climate change. India will list out best practices and achievements in the area during the summit. The country has almost achieved its nationally determined contributions decided in the 2015 Paris Agreement. During the summit, India will push for climate financing and technology transfer among other issues. New Delhi is also expected to emphasize on lessening carbon emission. Divakar, AR News, Glasgow.
Before COP26, the Prime Minister interacted with the Indian community members and Indologists living in Glasgow. They were very enthusiastic while meeting Mr. Modi and lauded his leadership.
मोदी जी भारत का गहना है। हम लोग इतना प्राउड फील कर रहे हैं कि ग्लासगो आने के बाद में लोगों में इतना उत्साह भरा हुआ है, उत्साह समा नहीं पा रहा है। जो आईटी प्रोफेशनल्स है, हमारा जो ग्रुप है ग्लासगो इंडियन, वो इतना खुश है और आजादी के निमित्त पे जो 3 कॉम्पिटिशन करवाने होंगे बच्चों को, यंग पीपल्स को जरूर करवाएंगे और मोदी जी यहाँ से अच्छी यादें ले जाएंगे।
स्कॉटलैंड में पहली बार मोदी जी आए हैं एंड वी आर रियली एक्साइटेड अबाउट इट। मोदी जी हैज चेंज्ड द नैरेटिव। ए कॉमन मैन कैन बिकम अ प्राइम मिनिस्टर एंड इज डूइंग so much for the Indian diaspora outside India. So welcome Modi ji.
Earlier, a large number of people from the Indian community were at the hotel to welcome the Prime Minister on his arrival to Glasgow. The conference of the parties, COP, is an annual summit under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. This is a global agreement signed in 1992 between 197 countries to prevent dangerous human interference with the climate system. A key task for the COP is to review the national communications and emission inventories submitted by the parties. The first COP meeting was held in Berlin, Germany in March 1995. The G20 summit, which concluded yesterday, has adopted the Rome Declaration. The member countries have agreed on mutual recognition of vaccines, strengthening of WHO to give faster approvals to vaccines, and suspending debt servicing for developing countries till December 2021. Briefing media in Rome, Union Minister and India's G20 Sherpa Piyush Goyal said G20 Rome has delivered a strong message of recovery from the pandemic in terms of economy, health, employment, education, tourism, and most importantly, climate action. He said G20 has identified sustainable and responsible consumption and production along with provision of finance and technology as critical enablers to achieving climate goals.
On agriculture, we are very delighted to share with you that livelihoods for small and marginal farmers were at the focus of our discussions, and everybody has agreed that improving their livelihood is an important global effort that we all have to put in. Energy and climate was clearly the center stage of our discussions. India and many other developing countries pushed for safeguarding the interests of the developing world. We were also joined by the developed countries to increase the ambition from the current levels of commitment and active interest that the developed world has shown.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has thanked Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison for Australia's recognition of India's COVID-19 vaccine, Covaxin. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said that it is an important step forward in the post-COVID partnership between India and Australia.
The centre has launched a mega vaccination campaign, Har Ghar Dastak, with a view to speed up COVID-19 vaccination drive from today. Talking to AIR News, Niti Aayog member Health, Dr. V.K. Paul said, Under the campaign, healthcare workers in all the states will visit door to door to vaccinate people eligible for the second dose and also those who have not taken the first dose.
106 करोड़ वैक्सीनेशन लगने के बाद भी अभी हमने हर वयस्क को टीका लगाना है पहला, और फिर उसके बाद 2 टीका लगने से ही काम पूरा होता है। और इसीलिए भारत सरकार ने हर घर दस्तक कार्यक्रम आज से शुरू किया है। इस अभियान के अंतर्गत घर घर जाएंगे, खासकर उन जिलों में जहां वैक्सीनेशन की रफ्तार पीछे किसी भी वजह से कम हुई हो। तो विनती ये है कि हम इन हफ्तों में, इन दिनों में हम याद रखें कि जिसने पहला टीका नहीं लगाया है वो प्लीज अपना पहला टीका लगाए। जिन्होंने पहला लगा लिया है और दूसरे टीके का टाइम हो गया है, उसको देर मत करो। ये हमारे देश के लिए, हमारे परिवार के लिए, हम सबके लिए बहुत जरूरी है।
More than 106 crore 34 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. Out of the total vaccination, more than 73 crore 39 lakh vaccine doses have been given as the first dose, while over 32 crore 95 lakh doses have been administered as the second dose. The Health Ministry said the recovery rate is currently at 98.2%. The centre has constituted a 20-member empowered group of secretaries which will be a monitoring mechanism for the development and implementation of the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. The Cabinet Secretary will be its chairperson. The members of this empowered group include Chairman, Railway Board, Secretaries of Road, Transport and Highways, Civil Aviation, Petroleum and Natural Gas, Power, Telecommunications, Coal, Mines, Chemicals and Fertilizers, and Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare. The terms of reference of the empowered group of secretaries is to review and monitor implementation of the plan, to ascertain the logistics efficiency, and adopt framework and norms for undertaking any amendments in the plan. The special NIA court in Patna has pronounced the quantum of punishment for 9 convicts in the 2013 Patna Gandhi Maidan serial blasts case. 4 convicts have been awarded capital punishment, 2 got life imprisonment, 2 got 10-year imprisonment, and 1 convict got 7 years imprisonment. The judgment was pronounced by the Additional District and Sessions Judge Gurvinder Singh Malhotra. Imtiaz Ansar, Haider Ali, Numan Ansari and Mujibullah Ansari were awarded capital punishment. Umar Siddiqui and Azharuddin were sentenced to life imprisonment, while Ahmad Hussain and Firoz Aslam got 10 years imprisonment. Iftikhar Alam was awarded 7 years imprisonment. 6 people were killed and over 90 were injured in serial blasts that rocked Bihar's capital on October the 27th, 2013. The explosions had taken place at the venue of then Prime Ministerial candidate Narendra Modi's Hunkar rally. The explosions occurred 150 meters from the platform where Mr. Modi was to deliver his speech. Later, 4 more live bombs were discovered near the rally venue. The NIA had taken over the investigation in November 2013 and had unearthed a plot to assassinate Mr. Modi. After probing the incident, 9 Indian Mujahideen suspects and Students Islamic Movement of India were named as the accused in the case.
Union Minister for Minority Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi today said that the Hajj pilgrimage, which was closed for 2 years due to the corona pandemic, will resume from next year. He announced that the online application process for Hajj 2022 has begun today and the last date of applying for the pilgrimage is 31st of January 2022. He said that people can apply online and also through Hajj mobile app equipped with modern facilities. He was speaking in a program in Mumbai today. Mr. Naqvi further informed that only those pilgrims who have taken both doses of COVID-19 vaccines will be granted permission for Hajj pilgrimage. He said that the embarkation points for the Hajj 2022 would be Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, Bengaluru, Lucknow, Cochin, Guwahati and Srinagar. The minister said that this time Indian Hajj pilgrims will promote vocal for local, going to Hajj with indigenous products. To ease filming in railways, an integrated single-window filming mechanism has been created by the Ministry of Railways and Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. The objective is to make the permission for filming across railway premises streamlined and efficient. Now filmmakers can submit online applications for filming at various railway locations falling under jurisdiction of even more than one zonal railways in a centralized way. The portal also provides a platform to the applicant as well as the authority to raise and address any queries regarding the application. Railways Ministry has said that this transparent ecosystem enables time-bound execution of the shooting permission request. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi participates in World Leader Summit in COP26 in Glasgow, interacts with Indian community and Indologists. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson opens the summit saying the world is strapped to a doomsday device. Centre constitutes a 20-member empowered group of secretaries to monitor implementation of PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. NIA court awards capital punishment to 4 in 2013 Patna Gandhi Maidan serial blast case. Har Ghar Dastak nationwide vaccination campaign begins. Vaccination coverage crosses 106 crore 34 lakh mark. Hajj pilgrimage to resume from next year, says Union Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi. Integrated single window filming mechanism created across railway premises to ease filming in railways. Nobel Peace Prize award ceremony to be held as an in-person event in Oslo on December 10th this year. Sensex regains 60,000 mark. Nifty also reclaims 17,900 level. And in men's T20 World Cup cricket, England take on Sri Lanka in Super 12 match in Sharjah. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the evening news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today met his UK counterpart Boris Johnson in Glasgow. They discussed cooperation in areas including green hydrogen, renewables and clean technology. The two leaders also exchanged views on the economy, defence and people-to-people ties. The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided this year's Peace Prize Award ceremony will be an in-person event taking place in Oslo on December the 10th. The decision comes in contrast to the move by the Nobel Foundation not to hold a ceremony and a banquet for the laureates in Stockholm for the second year running. All but one of the Nobel Prizes are awarded in Stockholm. The Peace Prize is the only one awarded in Oslo. Last year, no physical ceremony took place in Oslo due to the pandemic when the United Nations World Food Programme won the award. Filipino-American journalist Maria Ressa and Russian journalist Dmitry Muratov have won the Nobel Peace Prize this year. In a statement, the Nobel Committee said it is expecting both the winners to attend the ceremony. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Prime Minister Fumio Kishida for his victory in the lower house elections in Japan. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said he looks forward to working together to further strengthen special strategic and global partnership and for peace and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region and beyond. The Aviation Corps of the Indian Army celebrated its 36th Raising Day today. Lieutenant General A.K. Suri, Director General and Colonel Commandant of Army Aviation Corps, laid a wreath at the National War Memorial and paid homage to the brave hearts on the occasion. The Army Aviation Corps was raised on the 1st of November 1986 as a separate corps, and it is one of the youngest corps of the Army. Now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day.
1st November 1913, the Gadar party started the weekly revolutionary publication Hindustan Gadar from the Yugantar Ashram in San Francisco, the United States of America. The purpose of the publication was to further the Indian independence movement with special focus on Indian sepoys of the British Indian Army. The weekly was first published in Urdu, followed by a Punjabi edition on 9th November.
Later, the paper was also published in Gujarati, Hindi, Pashto, Bengali, English, German, French, and other languages. The issues were first handwritten before being printed using a small hand press. With the British government maintaining an iron grip on the press in India, the weekly emerged as an important publication to counter British propaganda.
The articles in Hindustan Gadar were initially authored by famous revolutionary Hardayal, with the printing operation run by another freedom fighter, Kartar Singh Sarabha, then a student of the University of California at Berkeley.
Copies of the paper were shipped to India with returning Gadarites and immigrants and were quickly deemed to be seditious and banned by the British Indian government. Careful measures were taken to shield the Gadar supporters from the British intelligence, which included the measure of memorizing over 1,000 names of subscribers so that no incriminating evidence could fall into the hands of the British government.
In March 1914, when the US government arrested Hardayal, he fled to Germany, leaving the operations to other members, including Ramchandra, Bhagwan Singh and Maulvi Barkatullah. They continued to spread information related to Indian independence and informed readers about the harshness of the British rule in India.
Other Indians also helped out with the press that printed not just the newspaper but also compilations of nationalist compositions and pamphlets including Gadar Ki Goonj, Talwar and other publications which were also banned from British India.
On November 1st, 1858, India became a direct British colony after the commencement of the Government of India Act. The powers of the East India Company's Court of Directors were transferred to the Secretary of State for India, who was provided with an advisory body consisting of 15 members. A viceroy was appointed to serve as the representative of the British Crown, and Lord Canning became the first viceroy.
The Act ended the controversial doctrine of lapse, and the Indian civil services were constituted for the administration of the country, with a provision for Indians to be admitted to the service.
Today, on November 1st, 1954, the Union Territory of Puducherry was liberated from French colonialism.
After India became independent on August 15, 1947, India called for the unification of Pondicherry with the Union. India signed an agreement with France in June 1948, which gave power to the people to determine the political status of the territory.
However, in the municipal elections of Pondicherry, Karaikal and Yanam in October 1948, all municipalities except for one elected representatives of the French India Socialist Party, a pro-French group. The new councillors at a meeting accepted the autonomy offered by the French government.
However, in March 1954, members of the Executive Council, mayors of Pondicherry and 7 adjoining communes proclaimed their decision to merge with India without a referendum. All communes in Karaikal also followed suit, after which a referendum was conducted by the French administration in the border village of Kirur to ascertain the wish of the people.
On 18th October 1954, the municipal councillors and members of the Assembly gave their verdict in favour of merger with India. The agreement for the de facto transfer of the 4 remaining French settlements to India was signed on October 21st, 1954 and came into effect on November 1st, 1954.
France and India entered into a treaty establishing the cession by the French Republic to the Indian Union of the French establishments of Pondicherry, Karaikal, Mahe and Yanam.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
भारत के स्वतंत्रता संग्राम में अनगिनत स्वतंत्रता सेनानियों ने अपने प्राणों की आहुति दी। कुछ इतिहास में अमर हो गए और कई गुमनाम। आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के अंतर्गत 75 कड़ियों की श्रृंखला में हम उन वीरांगनाओं की बात करेंगे जिनका योगदान कभी भुलाया नहीं जा सकता। प्रत्येक मंगलवार परिक्रमा में सुनिए अपराजिता, देश की वीरांगनाओं को आकाशवाणी का सादर नमन।
The Sensex today climbed 1.4% amid positive global cues. The Sensex regained the 60,000 mark while the Nifty reclaimed 17,900 level. A report from the Business World.
The BSE Sensex jumped 832 points to trade at 60,138. The NSE Nifty also surged 258 points to trade at 17,930. In the Forex market, the rupee appreciated marginally 1 paise to trade at 74 rupees and 87 paise against the US dollar. Gold prices slipped marginally by 5 rupees in intraday trade. The precious metal was trading at 47,630 rupees per 10 grams. Silver also declined 150 rupees to 64,385 rupees per kilogram, and Brent crude prices rose around 1% to deal above $84 a barrel. Lalema Aneja Dang for AIR News.
Union Minister for Chemicals and Fertilizers Dr. Mansukh Mandviya has debunked rumours of fertilizer shortage. The Union Minister appealed to all farmers not to hoard fertilizers and requested them not to pay attention to rumour mongers. He cautioned that strict action will be taken against those who resort to black marketing of fertilizers using rumour as a shield.
In the run-up to the UN Climate Summit or the Conference of Parties COP26, All India Radio brings to you a Ready Reckoner. Under the COP26 Explainer series, we will bring for you daily the terms and concepts that will be in use over the next fortnight. Today we shall talk about climate justice. In recent years, the notion of climate justice has emerged as a way of encapsulating the equity aspects of climate change. Climate justice builds on a platform of equitable development, human rights and political voice. It is an agenda that seeks to redress global warming by reducing disparities in development and power that drive climate change and continued injustice. On to sports. In T20 Cricket World Cup, England were 118 for 3 and 16.2 overs against Sri Lanka at Sharjah when reports last came in. Earlier, Sri Lanka won the toss and chose to field. Tomorrow, South Africa will take on Bangladesh while Pakistan will clash with Namibia. All India Radio is broadcasting ball-by-ball commentary of the World Cup matches. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have a partly cloudy sky. Temperature will vary between 15 and 29 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will also have a partly cloudy sky. Minimum temperature will be 24 degrees. Maximum expected to be around 34. Chennai is expected to have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Temperature will vary between 25 and 30 degrees. Kolkata will have a mainly clear sky. The city will observe a minimum temperature of 21, maximum of around 31. Srinagar will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm. Temperature will hover between 5 and 16 degrees. Jammu will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Minimum temperature will be 15 degrees, maximum around 16. Now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi participates in World Leaders Summit on COP26 in Glasgow, interacts with Indian community and Indologists. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson opens the summit saying the world is strapped to a doomsday device. Centre constitutes a 20-member empowered group of secretaries to monitor implementation of PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. NIA Court awards capital punishment to 4 in 2013 Patna Gandhi Maidan serial blast case. Har Ghar Dastak nationwide vaccination campaign begins. Vaccination coverage crosses 106 crore 34 lakh mark. Hajj pilgrimage to resume from next year, says Union Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi. Integrated single-window filming mechanism created across railway premises to ease filming in railways. Nobel Peace Prize Award ceremony to be held as an in-person event in Oslo on December the 10th this year. Sensex regains 60,000 mark. Nifty also reclaims 17,900 level. And in men's T20 World Cup cricket, England take on Sri Lanka in Super 12 match in Sharjah. And with that we end the evening news. Good night.